Hello everyone, this is Module 3 of your course, ENG 1201, 2201 Use of English in the 2020-2021 session at Bayero University, Kano. And the title of the module is Reading Comprehension and Summary. You are Group G1, Biochemistry and Nutrition and Dietetics, and my name is Dr. Alia Nejama Abdullahi. So this module is about improving your reading skills. And as you know, reading is one of the 4 essential skills in language learning. And there are 4 of them: listening, speaking, reading, and writing, which the others of which have been treated in other modules. Now, these 4 skills play a significant role in language acquisition and in your expertise and command of any language. Reading denotes or means the reader's ability to decipher or interpret a written document. That is, when you see words on the page, you are able to understand them, decode them, or decipher them. Now, writing and speaking are expressive language skills. You are expressing yourself when you write, putting your thoughts out there, or when you speak, since they help in our ability to produce, because you are the producer of printing and speech. While reading and listening are receptive, because you are reading something that has already been written, or you are reading something written by someone, or you are listening to someone. So these ones are receptive. You are receiving from external sources, while in speaking and writing you are expressing, sending out a message. So reading and listening are receptive language skills because they permit us to understand print and speech respectively. So let us begin. What is reading comprehension? Comprehension means understanding. Therefore, reading comprehension means to read and to understand. So you read to understand what the passage is about and to respond accurately to questions that may follow the passage. So when we speak about reading comprehension, we mean we are testing your understanding of a piece or a text that is before you, which you are expected to read, to understand, and to be able, and your understanding will be shown through how you answer questions about the text that follow this passage. There are basically 2 types of reading: intensive reading and extensive reading. Intensive reading means reading short text to extract specific information and other textual details. That is, when you do intensive reading, you just take a piece of text, and what you are doing is you are looking for specific information. So your reading is intensive. You are not going outside to read anything to supplement it or whatever. All you are doing is taking a specific text and you are scrutinizing it because you are looking for a particular piece of information. Extensive reading, on the other hand, means reading widely. You are reading longer texts. You want to have global understanding, wider understanding, and extensive reading can be done for pleasure. Where you usually do intensive reading for specific purposes such as an assignment, or for specific information or a particular detail, or for a fact that you are looking for. In the case of extensive reading, you can simply do it for pleasure, or to widen your knowledge, or to gain general knowledge, or to improve your understanding about the world or about things in general. So with extensive reading, you are reading many things. You read more and more as time goes on, because and you will read longer text because you are not reading to find out just something specific. You are just reading to improve your general knowledge. So we spoke about reading comprehension being your ability to read a piece and to understand it, and so in such a way that you are able to answer questions that follow. So, but what is its purpose? What is the purpose of reading comprehension? The first one is to grasp a sense of the passage, to get it, to understand a sense of a passage that is given to you, to understand what it means. And reading comprehension is also done to generalize from and apply simple logic to the passage. This is because the questions that sometimes follow a reading comprehension passage, you may not see the answers directly in the passage. You have to infer. Based on your understanding of the passage, you should be able to answer questions that you may not be able to say, exactly the answer to those questions are contained within the actual writing in the passage. So it's like if you understand the passage, you should be able to say things that are not even written inside the passage. So this is using simple logic to that passage. It is also done to get the meaning of part of the passage or the whole or the entire passage. It's also intended to help you understand the passage's essential features. That is, what are the main arguments or main parts of the passage, and to identify key words and their grammatical functions, because the questions that follow a reading comprehension passage may have to do with vocabulary development, or the identification of certain key words in the passage and what their grammatical function is. Are they nouns? Are they verbs? Are they prepositions? And so on. And what function do they have within the passage? To appreciate facts from opinions, because you have a passage before you, and the passage may give you actual facts, and then it may give you the opinions of people on those facts, or their interpretation of those facts. So you should be able to distinguish what the facts are and what the opinions are, to appreciate, and to identify types of sentences and figurative expressions. Because you understand that there are different types of sentences. You have simple sentences, complex sentences, compound, complex, and so on. And you also have figurative expressions such as metaphors, similes, and proverbs, phrasal verbs, sayings, idioms, and so on. So all of this are intended to be captured when you do reading comprehension. This is the purpose of giving you passages and asking you to answer the questions that follow the passage. Now, to succeed at reading comprehension, you need to look at three things. And these are: what do you do before the reading comprehension, during the reading comprehension, and after the reading comprehension? And it is what we shall be looking at in subsequent slides. So before you read, before you start the actual reading, identify the structure of the text. That is, you must first look at how it is structured. You observe the elements of the text in order to identify what is the title, are there subtitles, are there illustrations or captions, are there boxes, are there words in bold type, and so on. So essentially what you are doing is familiarizing yourself with the text and sort of building your expectations or tailoring your expectations to the text. That is to say, when you find that a text has several subtitles, you know that you'll be encountering several different things or several different sections. So it's like mentally you are preparing yourself for what you are going to encounter within the text. So after you've familiarized yourself with the structure of the text, that is before the reading, you now move on to do the actual reading. So you have defined your reader project and you are starting to lose yourself in the reading. Here again, certain attitudes will facilitate your understanding and will help you in remembering what you have read. The first thing is to locate the frame, to understand what kind of text are you reading. Is it a narrative? Is it an expository? Is it a descriptive? And so on. So you need to understand what sort of text are you reading, as this will facilitate your understanding and your ability to remember. And then the next thing is to find the key idea. What is the central argument? What is the central idea? The overarching theme, the central theme of the text that you are reading. Once you are able to locate these two things, you'll be able to follow the thread of the reading, and it will make things easier, because the moment you know what kind of essay you are reading or what kind of text you are reading, yes, and you are able to locate the central theme or the central idea, you will be able to keep seeing and identifying parts of the text that will continue to consolidate or supplement or support the main thread that you have already located with regards to the text that you are reading. So during the reading, you have to be active. You have to be an active participant, not just receptive, not just reading and just absorbing, but you have to actively take part in the formations of the meaning of the text by identifying these two things that are on the frame before you. Now, if you are really serious about memorizing and remembering what you've read, something has to happen after you have finished your reading, and this is called rephrasing. To rephrase does not mean to paraphrase. It doesn't mean to copy all the key ideas or to repeat everything on another piece of paper. No. But to rephrase is to explain what you have retained from the text in your own words. You have read your text, or you have read the piece. You now put it aside and then bring it back in your own words. Explain what you have just read. This is very important because you will then, from your rephrasing, you will be able to understand how much you understand and how much you remember. The next topic with regards to reading skills is the summary. And the summary is a brief statement or a restatement in your own words of the main idea of a passage. Sometimes this follows immediately after the questions for a reading comprehension passage. You may be asked to summarize the main arguments of the passage and so on. So when you write a summary, what you are doing is just condensing the writer's ideas into a few concise sentences. Sometimes it's just one sentence. So, a summary is always shorter than the larger passage. Absolutely. It's always shorter because you are shortening things, you are summarizing. So, in a summary, you tend to leave out examples, you tend to leave out digressions and asides, you tend to leave out analogies and rhetorical strategies that writers use to emphasize, for emphasis and to emphasize a point that they want to make and to sort of retain your interest. You know, when writers write, they embellish the language. They use idioms, phrases, figures of speech, and so on. All of this is to keep you interested in the reading and to keep you reading. When you come to summarize, you don't have time for this. So all of these have to be removed. Also, examples, they are not required. When you are summarizing, you only bring out the key ideas or the main points of the text, and this is what you put down as your summary, and you are expected to do this in your own words. So how do you write a summary? First of all, you should understand the text. You can't summarize what you don't understand. So you need to take time to understand the text. Some people prefer first they read without taking any notes, so that they make sure that they understand the main ideas and the structure of the text. Some people prefer that while they are reading, they are taking notes. So it depends on who you are, and what your preference is. The second thing is to create a plan. So when you are doing your early readings, you should take like half a sheet of draft and you write down the plan chosen by the author of the text. You find the original structure, the ideas that drive each of the main lines of the text, and make sure everything is well integrated. That is to say, for some texts, when you read them, you know, if you are reading a book, for instance, you'll find that it is divided into chapters. But even when you take these chapters, you'll find that the chapters have titles, and then there are subheadings or subtitles. Now, for each section, you'll find that there is a main theme or main idea. So this is what we mean by creating a plan. What is contained in chapter 1? What is contained in chapter 2? Or when you have, it is just a simple essay or a passage, what is contained in paragraph 1? What is contained in paragraph 2? And so on. This is called a plan. Now, when you have that done, you now write. The length of the paragraph should not depend on the length of the idea in the text, but on its importance. So you spend a little more time on fundamental concepts and less time on obscure or illustrative paragraphs of a concept that has just been explained. So when you take an essay or a passage, a chapter, a text, you will find that some paragraphs contain more important ideas that are central to the entire passage or the overall passage than others. So in this case, when you take such ideas, you should take more time in your summary. You take more time and more space explaining them. But where you have paragraphs that have ideas that are just there to supplement or to give more explanation on more important paragraphs, these ones you can ignore them, or you don't need to pay too much attention to them in your summary, because basically what they are is just examples or elaborations. After you've written your summary, you need to proofread it. That is, you read everything and you check that you have not forgotten anything, that you have not added anything that is absolutely not there, and that you have not suppressed anything or kept anything hidden simply because maybe you don't want to say it, or you disagree with it, or you have overlooked it. So you have to go over your writing again and make sure that you've captured everything that needs to be captured in its most precise and concise form, in its essential form in your summary. And also check that what you have written is clear, that it is well written in a good writing style, that it can be understood by the reader who has not read the original text, and that it is rigorous for a reader who has read it. That is to say that when a reader who has not read the text reads it, they should be able to see simply from your summary what the main arguments or the ideas in the text are. And that when a reader who has read it reads your summary, he will find that that summary is rigorous in the sense that it has addressed all the central parts of the text. Finally, you can also follow these 6 steps when you want to summarize a text. Step 1, you list the main ideas for each paragraph. Step 2, you underline the main idea statements that include the most important ideas. Step 3, you can combine any ideas that can go into one sentence. Step 4, you number the ideas in logical order. Step 5, you can write your summary in one paragraph. And step 6, you edit your summary. So when you look at it, when you come to summarize, you can either list the main ideas. You take each paragraph, find the main idea, and write this in a list. Or you can just underline the main ideas. Where the main ideas are stated, the sentences or statements that contain the main ideas, you underline them, because this will form what eventually you will put together in your summary. Also, you may find that some ideas are repeated across the writing. So when you have ideas that are repeated, you should simply combine this in one sentence instead of writing them and repeating them again. When you've done this, you can now number your ideas in a logical order, and then you write your summary in one paragraph. When you have your ideas, you have numbered them, all you need to do now is to take those bullet points of all the ideas that you've garnered from the passage and just write it in one paragraph. But of course, it depends on the size of the text that you are summarizing. If it's a large text, you may not be able to summarize everything in one paragraph, but if it's not too large, you should be able to do so. So the summary might depend on the extent of the text, but for most texts really, you should be able to do a concise, brief, clear and straight to the point paragraph about what the text is about. And when you've done so, you now edit your summary to make sure that it is well written, it is clear, and it is readable, and it is rigorous. So with this, we come to the end of this module on reading or reading skills.